At 0500 hours local time along the windswept tree lines of the Donetsk region, a Russian motorized rifle platoon began a silent crawl toward Ukrainian trench systems under the cover of a thick morning fog. This was supposed to be a coordinated infiltration, a shift away from the disastrous armored columns of the previous month toward a more fragmented, stealthy approach designed to bleed the defenders through 1,000 small cuts. But as the lead Russian scout tripped a concealed laser tripwire, the silence was shattered by the rhythmic thud of Mark 19 automatic grenade launchers. Within 90 seconds, the entire tactical plan for the sector collapsed as the specialized Ukrainian drone units, known as the Birds of Magyar, launched 6 explosive-laden quadcopters to clean up the survivors. This failed skirmish was merely a microcosm of a much larger, bloodier reality that has defined the last 7 days of the conflict. According to official statements from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, the Russian military has just endured one of its most catastrophic weeks of the entire campaign, losing approximately 8,000 soldiers killed or severely injured in a desperate bid to regain the initiative. While the Kremlin attempted to project strength through increased assault intensity, the actual result was a meat grinder that processed entire battalions without moving the front lines more than a few dozen meters. Before we continue, make sure to hit like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. The failure of this recent surge has triggered a quiet but violent earthquake within the Russian military command structure that is only now coming to light. For months, senior officials in Moscow were fed a steady diet of optimistic reports claiming that the spring offensive was breaking the back of the Ukrainian defense and that key logistical hubs were on the verge of falling. However, the discrepancy between these polished briefings and the actual satellite imagery of burning wreckage and stagnant trench lines became too large to ignore. In a rare move that signals deep internal desperation, several Russian brigade-level commanders were summarily dismissed this week for providing what the Kremlin calls inaccurate information, but what frontline soldiers simply know as lying to survive the colonel general. This purge of the officer corps was intended to fix the flow of information, but it has instead left newly promoted, inexperienced commanders in charge of exhausted units that are being asked to perform the impossible. Zelensky noted that while the leadership is changing the faces in the bunkers, the underlying math of the battlefield remains stubbornly against them. Russian forces are no longer capable of the sweeping, deep penetration maneuvers they once practiced. Instead, they are forced to rely on these small, fragmented infiltration tactics that Ukraine has spent 2 years learning how to systematically dismantle. By midday on March 22nd, the scale of the Russian desperation became visible on the radar screens of the Ukrainian General Staff as they tracked 134 separate tactical clashes across the entire theater. To support their failing infantry, Russia unleashed a staggering volume of fire, including 67 distinct airstrikes and the deployment of 285 precision-guided bombs known as KABs. These massive, wing-equipped munitions are designed to pulverize fortified positions from a distance, yet the Ukrainian lines in the eastern Donetsk region remained largely immovable throughout the week. The sheer density of the Russian effort was further highlighted by the use of 9,266 kamikaze drones and over 3,800 shelling attacks, including 57 volleys from multiple rocket launchers. This equates to a shell or a drone hitting Ukrainian-controlled territory every few seconds for 24 hours straight. Despite this wall of steel, the Ukrainian airborne and assault units did not just sit and wait. They initiated a series of aggressive countermoves that targeted the very launch points of these drones. In the northeastern Kharkiv area and near the border communities of the Sumy region, Russian attempts to push across the international boundary were detected by thermal sensors long before they reached the first line of defense, resulting in the rapid elimination of the assault groups by pre-positioned artillery. As the sun crossed the meridian on the 4th day of this high-intensity week, the Russian military's tactical shift from massive armored columns to fragmented infantry infiltration began to face its most brutal reality check. In the Zaporizhzhia region, where the terrain is as flat as a pool table and offers almost zero natural concealment, Russian commanders attempted to push 3 small assault groups into the gray zone simultaneously. The logic was to saturate the Ukrainian defense with multiple small targets that would be too numerous for a single artillery battery to track. However, the Ukrainian response was not human, but algorithmic. Utilizing a networked battle management system that fuses live feeds from over 40 drones simultaneously, the defenders identified the heat signatures of the Russian soldiers through the thermal haze of the afternoon. Within 2 minutes of crossing the line of departure, all three groups were pinned down by precision mortar fire that landed within 3 meters of their positions. This represents the effective death of the Russian spring offensive. The heavy equipment that once defined their doctrine is now so vulnerable to cheap, mass-produced munitions that it has been relegated to the rear, leaving the infantry to march into a technological buzzsaw with nothing but rifles and a hope that the Ukrainian drone batteries are empty. The internal collapse of the Russian command structure has now metastasized into a crisis of logistics that is being exploited by Ukrainian deep strike units. As those brigade-level commanders were being dismissed for their inaccurate reporting, the Ukrainian GUR intelligence agency was already tracking the replacement officers moving toward their new headquarters. On the evening of March 21st, a high-value target meeting in an occupied industrial complex in the Luhansk region was interrupted by a single, high-speed missile that bypassed the local air defense umbrella entirely. The strike was not random. It was timed to the exact second that the new leadership was being briefed on the true casualty figures of the previous 48 hours. This pattern of precision elimination has created a leadership vacuum where no one wants to report the truth, and no one is qualified to manage the chaos. Zelensky emphasized that these internal purges are a sign of a military that is beginning to eat itself from the inside out, as the pressure to produce results on a map in Moscow overrides the physical reality of the soldiers dying in the mud. The 8,000 casualties reported this week are not just numbers. They represent the total destruction of the offensive capability of multiple specialized units that were supposed to lead the breakthrough toward the heart of the Donbass. While the Russian military burns through its remaining stockpiles of 9,266 kamikaze drones in a single day, the Ukrainian defense has transitioned into a phase of active, mobile resistance that prevents any static target from being easily hit. In the Sumy region, where Russian forces have been attempting to open a new front to draw Ukrainian reserves away from the east, the defenders have established a kill zone that extends 10 kilometers into Russian territory. Every time a Russian unit attempts to congregate for an assault, they are met with a combination of high-precision artillery and electronic warfare jamming that severs their link to their own drone operators. This results in blind Russian units wandering into pre-registered artillery fields where the survival rate is measured in seconds. On March 22nd alone, the Ukrainian General Staff reported that while the Russians conducted 3,811 shelling attacks, the return fire from Ukrainian batteries was 50% more effective due to the use of Western-provided counter-battery radar systems. These systems track the trajectory of an incoming Russian shell in midair and calculate the exact GPS coordinates of the gun that fired it before the shell even hits the ground. This has turned the Russian artillery advantage into a liability, as every shot they fire acts as a flare pointing directly to their own location. As the final 72 hours of this bloody week unfolded, the tactical situation for the Russian military shifted from a planned offensive to a desperate exercise in damage control. Ukrainian assault and airborne units, rather than simply holding their ground, initiated a series of lightning-fast counter-thrusts in the Bakhmut and Avdiivka sectors that exploited the confusion of the newly appointed Russian brigade commanders. These Ukrainian fire brigades are equipped with high-mobility infantry fighting vehicles that allow them to strike a Russian trench line, neutralize the occupants, and withdraw before the Russian heavy artillery can even calculate a firing solution. The result was a series of localized collapses where Russian troops, realizing their tactical reports were being falsified by their own officers, chose to abandon forward observation posts rather than wait for the inevitable drone strike. This breakdown in the basic contract between the soldier and the commander has accelerated the casualty rate to over 1,100 men per day. This is the friction of war in the 21st century, where a single discrepancy in a digital sitrep can lead to the total annihilation of a company-sized element in under 10 minutes of active contact. The technological gap on the battlefield became even more pronounced during a series of nocturnal engagements along the Vuhledar axis, where the Russian Federation attempted to use the darkness to mask the movement of a motorized infantry battalion. Unknown to the Russian planners, the Ukrainian defenders were monitoring the entire assembly area using high-resolution thermal optics mounted on persistent surveillance balloons floating 5,000 feet above the tree line. These eyes in the sky provided a continuous, unblinking feed of the Russian positions, allowing Ukrainian HIMARS crews to program 12 individual GPS-guided rockets for a synchronized arrival. At 0200 hours, the staging area was hit with a precision that turned the Russian battalion's logistics hub into a localized sun, detonating fuel trucks and ammunition caches in a chain reaction that lasted for nearly 3 hours. This specific strike eliminated over 400 personnel and destroyed 22 transport vehicles before they could even reach the first line of contact. It was a textbook demonstration of why the Russian spring offensive has effectively failed. You cannot win a war of maneuver when the enemy can see your every move through the fog of war and the shroud of night. By the morning of March 23rd, the Russian military's reliance on massed artillery and 9,200 kamikaze drones had reached a point of diminishing returns that is now visible in their shrinking ammunition stockpiles. While the sheer volume of fire remains high, the quality of the targeting has plummeted, as Ukrainian electronic warfare units have deployed spoofing towers that broadcast false GPS signals across the front. These towers trick the Russian drones into diving into empty fields or detonating harmlessly against abandoned structures, wasting millions of dollars of hardware for zero tactical gain. Zelensky noted that the Russian leadership is now facing a mathematical crisis where the cost of their fragmented infiltration tactics is far exceeding the value of the territory they are attempting to seize. In the Kupiansk direction, a Russian platoon was observed attempting to advance across an open field using a single civilian-grade golf cart for transport, a sign that their once massive fleet of armored personnel carriers has been so thoroughly hunted by Ukrainian FPV drones that they are resorting to desperate improvised solutions. This is not the behavior of a military on the verge of a breakthrough. It is the behavior of an organization that is rapidly running out of both men and material. The human cost of these failed golf cart charges was quantified by the Ukrainian General Staff as they processed the tactical data from 134 separate clashes that occurred in a single 24-hour window. Each of these clashes follows a predictable and lethal pattern. A Russian squad is ordered to advance across a gray zone that is under constant observation. They are engaged by long-range snipers or automatic grenade launchers, and then the survivors are hunted down by loitering munitions. This repetitive cycle has led to a situation where the average life expectancy of a Russian stormtrooper in the Zaporizhzhia sector is now estimated at less than 4 hours from the moment they leave their primary trench. Despite this, the pressure from Moscow remains absolute, forcing local commanders to continue the assaults even as their casualty lists grow to include nearly every member of their original unit. The dismissal of those brigade commanders was a desperate attempt to find a scapegoat for a failure that is actually systemic, a refusal to acknowledge that the Ukrainian defense has evolved into a multi-layered, technologically superior wall that cannot be broken by 19th century infantry tactics. Deep behind the Russian lines, the Ukrainian shadow units have been conducting a parallel campaign that has turned the Russian rear into a landscape of constant insecurity and logistical paralysis. These specialized teams, often working in coordination with local partisan networks, have focused their efforts on the rail lines and bridges that feed the Russian war machine in the southern occupied territories. On March 24th, a strategic railway bridge in the Zaporizhzhia region was destroyed by a sophisticated underwater drone that targeted the central support pylon, cutting off a primary supply route for at least 2 weeks. This forced the Russian military to reroute their ammunition trucks through a single highway that was already within the range of Ukrainian heavy artillery, leading to a highway of death scenario where dozens of supply vehicles were picked off one by one. This is the definition of a failed offensive, when the frontline troops are starving for bullets because the logistics chain has been severed hundreds of kilometers away. The 8,000 casualties from this week are the direct result of these soldiers being left in exposed positions without the support, food, or ammunition necessary to defend themselves, let alone advance. The Ukrainian Air Force, despite being outnumbered on paper, has maintained a persistent presence over the battlefield by utilizing pop-up tactics that have frustrated Russian S-400 batteries all week. On two separate occasions, Ukrainian Su-27 fighters were able to launch HIMARS anti-radiation missiles that homed in on Russian radar emissions, successfully blinding the air defense network over a 50-kilometer stretch of the front. This opened a temporary corridor of opportunity that allowed Ukrainian attack helicopters to fly at treetop level and engage Russian troop concentrations with unguided rockets and precision missiles. The psychological impact of these sudden, low-altitude airstrikes has been devastating for the Russian infantry, who were told that the Ukrainian Air Force had been destroyed in the first week of the war. Instead, they find themselves under fire from a ghost fleet that appears, strikes with lethal accuracy, and vanishes before a counterstrike can be organized. This air-ground coordination is a key reason why the Ukrainian positions in the eastern Donetsk region have remained stable despite the 67 Russian airstrikes and 285 guided bombs dropped on them in return. As the week drew to a close, the true scale of the Russian failure was reflected in the total absence of any significant territorial gains, despite the expenditure of billions of dollars in equipment and thousands of lives. The spring offensive, which was hyped in Russian state media as the decisive blow that would end the conflict, has instead become a case study in military stagnation and the limits of brute force against a technologically agile opponent. Russian troops are no longer attempting to advance with heavy tanks or armored vehicles because they have learned that anything larger than a person is a magnet for a $300 drone. However, as the final payoff of this grueling week revealed, the Russian military's greatest threat was not just the Ukrainian army, but their own command's refusal to accept reality. The most devastating strike of the week did not happen on the front lines, but in a hidden command bunker 40 kilometers behind the border, where a Ukrainian Neptune missile, modified for ground targets, successfully eliminated the very officers who were tasked with replacing the dismissed brigade commanders, effectively decapitating the regional leadership for the second time in 7 days.